everyone, to another episode of Rome. My name is Shelby Wright, and today I'm playing Miss Indiana High School Rodeo Queen. Today we are here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds at the Hoosier Horse Fair. With me today I have Miss Rodeo Indiana, Miss Mary Beth Harrell. Mary Beth, can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved in rodeo queening and what your title is?
Sure. So I'm Miss Rodeo Indiana 2016, and this is the first year for Miss Rodeo Indiana since 1999. In Western states, this is a very popular program, bringing cowgirls out to be the spokesperson for rodeo and the ambassador for the Western way of life. And I'm trying to bring that back to Indiana so more cowgirls have that experience. I first got involved in this when I lived in South Dakota, and I held my very first title of Miss Rodeo Esteline. I later went on to compete for the title of Miss Rodeo South Dakota. I came first runner-up and decided I was going to bring this program back to Indiana. So my job as Miss Rodeo Indiana is to travel the country, especially around Indiana, and promote rodeo, promote the state of Indiana, and get the industry going and really bring the economy back to Indiana.
Awesome. Well, have you ever been to the Hoosier Horse Fair before, or is this your first time? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure. So I've been coming to the Hoosier Horse Fair since I was 13 or 14 years old, as long as I can remember. And it's changed so drastically as far as the clinicians and the vendors and just the people who come up, because as the horse industry is changing, so do the products and so do the people. And this year is by far the best year I've ever been here.
Awesome. Well, this is actually my first year here at the Hoosier Horse Fair, and I've kind of received a little bit of a backlash for it because I live only about 30 minutes away from here, and I've never been to the Hoosier Horse Fair, but so far we've had a really good experience. There are a lot of vendors here selling stuff, and there are clinicians and clinics going on. We have an awesome day planned out here at during the Rodeo Queen Takeover episode. We're going to be visiting and interviewing with some of the clinicians, some of the vendors, and then maybe even the Hoosier Horse Council Queen too.
Over here with the 2016 Indiana Horse Council Queen, Kelsey Sedera. You've been reigning for 2 days now. So can you tell us a little bit about what you hope to accomplish this year, some things that you're going to be doing, and how you're going to represent the Indiana Horse Council?
All right. Well, the few things I want to get done this year, I'd like to bring some youth activities back into the Hoosier Horse Fair and hopefully get something, getting the youth involved so we can have that younger generation coming up and getting them involved into the horse industry and making them have that passion that we all share here. And then my goals for this year, personally, I just want to be an advocate, a positive advocate for the youth and the Indiana Horse Council, just representing what we stand for and what we do. And then what was your last question? There was like 3 of them.
Some things you hope to do this year.
And then I just hope to go to all the events that I can. I know we have an Oktoberfest horse show that I would like to attend. There's a couple youth activities at the racetrack that I would like to go to and just be as familiar with everyone as I can be.
Awesome. Great. Well, it sounds like you have a really busy road ahead of you. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the Indiana Horse Council Queen Contest?
Sure. So I'm actually from Maryville, Indiana, which is like not really rural at all. It's more suburban. So my ag background came from 4-H, and that's where I got my passion for horses. And then I heard about the Indiana Horse Council Queen Contest through the past year's queen, Jessica. And I just decided that that's something I really wanted to do. I had a passion for it. I wanted to try and be that advocate I could be. So I decided that I would try and run and see what happened.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Kelsey. Well, we'll see you around the rest of the weekend. Thank you. Okay, and now here we are with the Indiana Horse Council Queen Contest. First runner-up, Adriana Erdy. So, Adriana, you were here last year for this contest. Can you kind of tell us about who you are and what brought you to the contest to begin with?
Yeah, I was here last year, and I'm from Lafayette, Indiana. And I found out about this on the internet, and I knew right away that I had to do it because it's right up my alley, and I love this organization, and I love the equine community, and I'm just really excited to be here.
Great. So, being from going to the pageant last year and then coming back again this year, did you feel like you had any advantage over the other girls coming in this weekend, or was it just a completely new experience again?
Well, our coordinators are they put us through a lot. They really want to make sure that we have a really good group of girls, which we did. We had a great group of girls this year. And even though I was here last year, was still kind of blindsided with the written test and the horsemanship pattern because it's so challenging, and I really liked it though. It was a good experience.
Great. So, aside from being a queen, you also are participating in a clinic this weekend. Can you kind of tell us about what that clinic is about and why you decided to do it?
Yeah, well, I'm just really happy to be involved, and the fact that we have the opportunities to train with these clinicians is such a great opportunity. And I'm training with Jennifer Mosier this evening, and it's about ranch riding and the patterns that we do, and I'm really excited to learn a lot.
Great. Well, I'm sure that education will really benefit you in the future. Thank you, Adriana.
Thank you.
All right, and last but not least, we have Jessica Peters, who is the 2015 Indiana Horse Council Queen, as well as a board of directors for the Indiana Horse Council and the chairman for the Queen Committee. So, Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about your experience last year being the very first Indiana Horse Council Queen?
Sure, Mary Beth. It was an exciting year. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, being the first ever queen, but I knew that I wanted to blaze a path that every other queen after me could follow. So it was a busy year. Horse Fair was very busy, 3 busy days. Did a lot of events at State Fair, Oktoberfest, locally with my county, and just getting the youth involved. So it was busy, but it was very exciting.
Awesome. Well, you really piloted a really great program, and now that you're finished with your reign, you transitioned into the business side of it, and now you're organizing this entire pageant. Can you tell us about how your role changed and how you dealt with that?
Yeah, it was a 180 flip for me because I was the queen, and then now I'm piloting this for the next queens that come up. And we had a great group of girls, a lot of different planning, had to change your way of thinking, thought about what we liked last year and what we wanted to change. We made some changes this year. So I loved the experience though. I loved planning it, and I'm really excited to be the chairman of next year's contest.
Great. And finally, can you just tell us about how the girls are judged? Is this just a beauty pageant? Did they just take pictures? What makes the Indiana Horse Council Queen?
Okay, so there's 3 components. The first day we do a test, which is over general equine knowledge, and as you girls know, that can be a very wide variety of questions. So our girls are really knowledgeable, and then they go through a pretty rigorous interview. We have judges that ask them some pretty tough questions about why they want to be here, and also about general welfare questions and things that are happening in the equine industry. After that, we choose our top contestants, and then they go to the equestrian or horsemanship portion where they do their pattern. So then they're judged on their riding ability and how they are as a horsewoman. And the last thing, we really like to think about why we're doing this and the purpose. And these girls are spokeswomen. They've got to be well-rounded. We hit them with an impromptu question, as you girls know, you were there. That was really surprising. And we keep them on their toes, so they're well-rounded, they're spokeswomen, they're advocates, and they're out there representing us in the industry.
Great. So this is more than just a pretty face question. Well, thank you so much for being with us and answering all of our questions, Jessica.
Thank you.
Okay, here we are with our first special guest, Madison Shambaugh, aka Mustang Maddie. We're going to talk to her a little bit about what she's doing with her horses and her zebras. So Maddie, I know you're involved in a lot right now and you're really busy. Can you kind of give us an idea of what all you're involved in the horse industry?
Sure. So I specialize in taming and training wild horses, and most recently exotic equines, including a zebra. And really, I work training horses. I give clinics educating the public on how we can communicate better with these animals and improve our relationships with them. And I've also recently started selling some tack and the Mustang Maddie clothing and things like that. So it's kind of going in a variety of different directions.
Wow. So this has been a whirlwind for you. I know last night you did a performance here at the Hoosier Horse Fair during the Saturday night showcase in which you got to do your 1-year anniversary run with Turk. Can you kind of tell us about your work with Turk?
Sure. First of all, he's just an incredible horse, and all that he's done to show people how trainable that these wild horses are has been really incredible. He's had a really big impact on people, and Yeah, you're right. About a year ago was our performance in Virginia at the Extreme Mustang Makeover, which is a competition in which you have 100 days to tame and train a wild horse to raise awareness for these guys. And it was just awesome to do. My whole family got to be here because it was so close by, and especially my grandma is just in love with this horse. So she got to see it as well, and it was really emotional for everyone because that moment that I went in with him at Virginia a year ago is what really changed my life too. Before that, I had trained horses locally, but I don't come from a really big horse family. So it's been a struggle to kind of get my name out there. I'm young and I'm a woman, and so it was really a life-changing moment. So to kind of recreate almost that moment here last night was really incredible. I'm meeting so many different people, and especially social media, the performances have gotten to go out right away and broadcasted to people all over the world. So I mean, I have people contacting me from Russia and South Africa and all these really incredible places, and it is just opening up a wealth of opportunity for me to explore those things.
Okay, so I know you're going to graduate and you feel like you're on your feet and you're starting your own business very well. So can you tell us what your plan is for the rest of the year, what you're going to be doing?
Sure. So I graduate in May, and from there I'll be at home in Indiana for about a month, and then I will go ahead and hit the road with 3 Mustangs and my zebra, and I'll be traveling throughout the U.S. and Canada for about 6 months, giving clinics and educating the public, and teaching full time. And then after those 6 months, I haven't really planned that far ahead. I know that I am going to be getting another zebra baby. In the future, I'd love to have a Liberty team of all zebras as well. So.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to see that. So we have a lot of plans just in the next 6 months. So it's hard to say even where you'll be in a couple years. Can you tell us kind of where you're going and what you're hoping to accomplish with the zebras or the Mustangs or just for the horse industry in general?
Sure. Well, I think the most rewarding thing for me is inspiring others to achieve explore the possibilities. So often we get on our horses and ride around the arena and, get stuck in working on just the show prep and stuff like that. And these animals have so much more to offer us. And so just, inspiring people to say, hey, there's so many other things that you can do with them. And just kind of narrowing the boundary between people and equines, I think is very neat, and teaching people how to effectively communicate with them, I think definitely opens the doors to creating better communicators for people as well. I'm very interested too in teaching especially women leadership skills through working with horses, and I have a lot of big ideas, and we'll see how it comes into play, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited for all your big ideas to come into play. So I know Shelby has some questions about you, specifically about your training your animals. So
Maddie, what you do is absolutely incredible. Can you tell me a little bit of how you got started in training? Like, do you work with anyone, or have you worked with anyone in the past that have sort of helped you? And who is your biggest mentor?
Sure. Well, I actually come from a non-horse family. My dad had horses growing up, but just kind of a more laid-back trail riding type of thing. And my mom is actually very terrified of horses, so this has been a big adjustment for her. I started out from a young age. I was interested in them. My dad, the first horse that he got me, was a 2-year-old that had 30 days on it, and I was like 10, so it was kind of a disaster at first, but I learned a lot, and that's what got me interested into the training. As far as a mentor goes, I think honestly my family has been the biggest thing in that. My mom is so creative, and from a young age she just always encouraged these crazy ideas that I had. It's like nothing was impossible. And then my dad is such a hard worker and very driven. And so I think that a combination of that has led to some of the recent success that I've had, definitely my family.
So can you tell me a little bit about this guy over here? Like, where does one get a zebra? And how have you started training with him and his whole background story?
Okay. So I got her from a family in Huntington, Indiana, the Zoms. And it was hard to come across one, and so when I came by one that was that close, of course I wanted her right away. And I had gotten this crazy idea because I had recently competed in the Mustang makeover, and the zebras are the hardest of equines to train. The Mustangs have hundreds of years of breeding through natural selection, meaning that traits such as fear and a tendency to flight are very ingrained in them, that instinct. And so the zebras have millions of years of that breeding. They have been bred through natural selection for millions of years in the harshest conditions on Earth. They have to survive lions and all kinds of extreme weather. And so notoriously they're known to be aggressive and hard to motivate as well, kind of like a donkey.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I just had this idea. And so anyways, I found this guy in Huntington, and at first he didn't really want to get rid of her. It was actually the last baby that they had by their stud. And he called me a month later. He said, "Do you still want her?" And I said, "Yep." Went and got her that day. So that's how she came about. And as far as her training, it's been a learning process for me. It's like working with basically a very fearful, aggressive, and lazy horse all into one. And there was definitely moments where I was like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into this time? And I feel like I say that a lot. But it's kind of unique. There's only a few in the world that have been trained enough to be at the point where they can be ridden. So it really is just exploring the possibilities again of what we can do with these animals. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Right, yeah. There is so much that one can do in terms of training horses. Horses are very intelligent, they're very smart, and they can do a lot of really cool things. What are some specific training that you do with the horses, and what kind of tricks can these two guys do?
Well, I specialize in liberty and bridleless work. So basically what I intend to do is to refine my communication to the point where I can communicate with them without having to actually touch them much, and I don't have any ropes attached. Basically, it all goes back to when I was younger. I was telling you I had that really difficult 2-year-old that I had, and I just wanted to figure out how to get my horse to like me as much as I liked her, because it wasn't mutual at that point. And so looking at equine behavior, I've developed some techniques that allow for that relationship to flourish. So as far as some tricks that we've put together, specifically, right now I'm working on having Xena lay down and then Turk side passes over her, which takes a lot of patience from the zebra and trust, and then a lot of communication from him as well.
Yeah. So do these two guys work well together? Are they friends? How do they act?
He's stretching. The Turk is wonderful with Xena. There's not a lot of horses who would put up with a 1-year-old zebra all the time. So he's the most patient with her, and they go together just awesome.
Well, that's great that you have this team. That's so cool. Well, if you don't mind, we might get some footage of you doing some tricks real quick with these two guys. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with our next special guest, Rusty Ryerson. Rusty is a country music singer. Rusty, can you tell me a little bit about how you got started in music and singing, please?
Oh, that's easy. In church, I was, grew up of course, singing the hymns and stuff. And then when I was about 14 or 15, I took an interest in playing guitar and finally started taking some lessons and learned it when I was about 16. Dad got involved and helped me. And so yeah, we started doing, Christian music and gospel stuff and involved in the church there. And then I started doing country and, recorded some CDs and just kind of moved forward from there.
So what do you do now? What is your music like now? Do you have a job that revolves around music? Or I know you mentioned something about the radio station.
Well, I got out of college in 2011. I said I'm going to retire and play music. And so that's pretty much what I've done the last 4 or 5 years here. And I've been with Ernie now with Better Horses Radio. That's the trailer. And we go all over the Midwest and played a lot of events like this. We've been here for this is our 4th year here.
Okay.
A lot of times we'll team up with Purina Mills and animal nutrition, and Ernie used to work for Purina, I think, for about 35 years, 36 years that he put in with them. Recently retired, and so now, he's fully on his own with the Better Horses Radio show. But we still work hand in hand with Purina a lot, and this is one of the events we get to share a booth. So it's a great working relationship.
Well, if you would like, I would really appreciate if you would sing a song for us. We definitely all want to hear you. Thank you.
This is a song that my hero Don Williams, I mentioned that, gave to me. We were down at his house about a couple of years ago, and he brought out his old guitar, and he played 2 songs for me. And he said, "Rusty, you do a really good job of those. I'd love it, hearing you record those." And so we did this one, and it's coming out to radio here about mid-April. It's called Something About You. I don't want nobody, I'm better off alone. I'm sworn to independence, my heart is made of stone, but you're breaking on through. Oh, there's something about you, I've been tapping my toes to the way you talk, and I've been singing along to the way you walk. I got to do something about you.
Okay, we're back here with one of our awesome vendors here at Hoosier Horse Fair, Jeff Boone, owner of Cowpokes, who's now one of the awesome sponsors of Miss Rodeo Indiana. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what Cowpokes is? Where do we find you?
Well, first of all, glad to have you here, and it's great to be a part of the Hoosier Horse Fair once again. We've been doing this event, I think, around 17 to 20 years, I can't recall. We've been in business for about 23 years, and Cowpokes Working Western Outfitters is out of Anderson, Indiana, so we're local. This is a show that's right in our back door here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, of course. So we've been, like I said, coming here for many, many years and bringing just a small sampling of what we have in our store in Anderson. We've got a beautiful store there. It's about 20,000 square foot, and we represent here just a few hundred square foot of that store. So obviously we can't bring everything, and it's just a 3-day show, but it's in and out. We get to see a lot of our friends, a lot of our good customers. We get to be a part of what we think is just a very important and viable industry in Indiana, which is the equine industry.
Right. Well, I know you said that you want to be in the equine industry and being involved now with Miss Rodeo Indiana and being at Hoosier Horse Fair for all these years. So can you tell us about some other ways that you're involved in the equine industry around Indiana?
Of course, we do sponsor some different charitable events that involve therapy, equine therapy. We go to different events throughout the year as well, different types of shows. Both of my kids show quarter horses on a competitive level, and so we're involved with it in a lot of different aspects. But I think that's what really gives us our connection to our customers in the equine industry, is that we understand who they are, what they do, and hopefully they understand that we're there as well as support and be able to provide them the products that they need.
Right. Well, I definitely agree. As an avid Cowpoke shopper, I know that feeling of having a family business and going in there and feeling welcome and always finding what I need. Jeff, so can you tell us a little bit more about owning a small local business in Indiana, what that's like, especially having this niche community of horse owners?
Well, when we started, it was a tough thing to do. Small business, as they say, is difficult no matter what it is. And we got started in an industry where there was never anything like it. And so when we first came to town, everybody was really surprised and they were shocked and they were glad to have us. But it took many years of building and growing slowly and smart to get to where we are today. So it's been a struggle, but we started with just a few family members and a couple employees, and now we've grown it to about 20 some employees, and we still have family involved, and it is a family-run business, and so it's very rewarding, it's very gratifying. It is a lot of work, but we're glad to be a part of it because small business is the #1 employer in the United States. It takes all these small businesses to employ all of these people, and so I think it's very important that we support our small businesses no matter what they are in our local communities and keep America strong in that sense.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks so much, Jeff, for being here, and thanks for talking with us today.
Thank you very much. Good to have you.
I'm back here with a really special guest. We have Craig Cameron, who's a very well-known horse trainer. We're really excited to have him here at Hoosier Horse Fair this year. So Craig, can you tell us about how long you've been training horses, what you specialize, who are you, what do you do?
Well, I'm from Texas. I grew up in Texas and just lucky enough to always be around horses and horsemanship. My family was always in the ranching business, and again, met people like Ray Hunt and Tom Dorrance who taught me the philosophy of working through the power of understanding with horses. And so, the last 30 years I've traveled all over the United States and other countries abroad and teaching people how to work with the horses instead of against their horses.
That's awesome. So we're here at Hoosier Horse Fair, and I know you're putting on some clinics and you're working with folks. Can you kind of tell us what you're doing with them?
Well, we're doing all different types of things, just different clinics, but the gist of it is, helping people to understand better how to communicate with the horse. I always say teaching is the art of communication, and communication is two minds listening and two minds open. It's just not about us, it's about us and the horse. So again, honing our skills to become better and again, improve that horse-human relationship.
Okay, awesome. That's a really great work idea. So we've been here the whole weekend. Can you kind of tell us what brings you back to Hoosier Horse Fair? I know this isn't your first year here, so what do you enjoy about being here?
Well, it's a great part of the country. There's people don't realize how many horses and horse people there are up here in the Midwest and in Indiana. Here, we're right here in the breadbasket, and the people here are enthusiastic. They're great students. They're friendly. So I have a great time here. It's a great family affair. There's lots going on. There's music. There's food. There's vendors. And of course, great horsemanship as well. So, there's not a better place to be than here at the Indiana Horse Fair right now. This is a blast.
Awesome. Well, we're so glad to have you here. I know Shelby has some questions for you too, so I'll let her take it over.
Again, this is Craig Cameron. He is basically the man when it comes to horsemanship. He is pretty famous, wouldn't you say?
Well, I'm just working at it, and sometimes, you get a chance to travel around quite a bit and you meet a lot of folks, and, I've just been really lucky. I've been very fortunate and very blessed, and the horse has been, kind of done everything for me. So again, I'm appreciative of the people and the horses and the folks that come out. I always say that I'm just a student of the horse as well. So we're all here learning and just sharing knowledge. So this is a great event, and I'm happy to be here.
You spoke of travel. What are some of the places, or where are some of the places you have gone, or some really cool places that you've seen?
Well, I've had a chance to travel all over the world, to Europe and different countries, Hawaii, Canada, and I love it all. Everything's an adventure, every place you go, but there's nothing I like better than America. I feel blessed to be an American citizen where we can express our views, have the freedom to ride horses, to be a cowboy. I love going out west, but I love coming back this direction too. So again, feel fortunate, feel lucky, and blessed to be here. So we're just going to keep the cowboy way going.
Definitely. Well, if some of our viewers wanted to get in contact with you or attend one of your clinics or something like that, what are some ways they could do that?
Well, you just go to craigcameron.com, and we're traveling all the time. We do a lot of clinics there at the ranch, and I'm just going to kind of keep riding. I had an interviewer just the other day. They said, Craig, I guess you're just going to keep riding until hell freezes over. I told him when hell freezes over, I'm going to start riding on ice. So, but again, thank you, and again, congratulations on what y'all are doing, and thanks for having me. And meantime, you guys keep riding like a champion, and we'll see you down the trail.
All right. Thank you so much, Craig, for your time. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Rome and Rodeo Takeover, held here in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Hoosier Horse Fair. Mary Beth, would you like to give any information out to the viewers about how to contact you?
Absolutely. Although I'll be traveling the country, I love to stay in contact with my followers. So, of course, I have a ton of social media. I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have an email that's just missrodeoindiana@gmail.com, and I can be reached just about any time to attend any events or just to reach out to the public.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate having you here on this episode of Roam as my co-host. Thank you again for roaming with us, and we will see you next time.